Nurah Speaks is a weekly podcast that tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, Nurah Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I'm your host, Nurah Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Nurah Speaks podcast, and I'm your host, Nurah Muhammad, and I am very fortunate to be joined in this episode with a good brother doing great things in the windy city of Chicago, Brother Mandene Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Nora. Thank you for having me, ma'am.
Oh, brother, this was a long time coming.
Three years in the making. I get like I'm some type of superstar or something. So, but let me just say, before you get into it, I really appreciate. I've been, you've always been even keel. The smile has been there, but you've been laser focused with what you're doing, and I acknowledge the work that you're doing every time, bro. And I say this loosely just in case anybody else, is listening. You were, and I'm using air quotes, you were Brother Manir's favorite, interview for a reason, because it's no matter what he threw at you, you was able to catch it and throw it right back, so it's great seeing your growth and development, first and foremost. So I'm honored. I'm really honored to be a part of this podcast.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, brother. I have to say that just a couple comments about what you said. One, I believe that my growth was catalyzed because of Brother Munir and the Munir Muhammad Show, Muhammad and Friends, and all of the opportunities that he brought me to appear on the show and share what's happening in Camden, New Jersey, or my viewpoint on current events or the Black woman, the Black family. So one, I owe a debt of gratitude towards that brother, and I'm so grateful. And I also say for the listening audience, Brother Mandene is referring to Munir Muhammad, Brother Munir Muhammad, who is one of the co-founders of CROE. And we're going to be talking about CROE shortly. Brother Munir Muhammad, we lost him last year, but he was a guest on the podcast. In fact, he was the second guest. And you, brother, were there, and you were able to capture a wonderful picture of me sitting with Brother Munir in Camden for an interview. And I'm just so thankful to God that I got to sit in the interview and have him at my microphone, where usually I'm at his microphone. So I'm just grateful in so many ways to that beautiful brother. And I'm sure you could say the same. We could do an entire show, and maybe that's something we'll do in the future. We can do an entire show.
I'll come back as many times as you want, man. I mean, because I spoke this past Sunday on Brother Manir, and you can't help but to speak on him, because as I told them Sunday, I mean, we're still eating off of moves that Brother Manir made to this day.
Yes.
So I mean, I vaguely remember taking the picture, but I always like to take, because brother, if you see me with the camera, he'll pose, but I like to catch those off the cuff. Those shots that you're not really ready for, and I just thought that was a great shot. And but you get a chance to turn the tables on Brother Manir, and he always welcomed that, as long as he got intelligent questions between you and Sister Kim. You all always just ask great questions.
Yeah, and I'll say, Brother Munir was he's such a great trainer, because when Brother Munir begins the sentence, you think he's going in one direction, but by the time he lands, you're in a totally different place. So just being able to be astute and to be able to think and keep up, and be on your toes. So he did a wonderful job with so many of us that he's touched, and as you said, his legacy continues to impact us and those that we touch. So, this is an ongoing journey for us all. So, Brother Mandene, I have you on the show. There's so much that we can talk about just with your background and the great things that you're doing. You're a member of CROE, and you are a producer at CROE Television Studios. I like to, let my audience know that there is a Black independent television studio that they can support, and you're a producer there. You're a camera person. You do so much behind the scenes, and you'll share that. You also are a radio host now at WVON, the Talk of Chicago,
Yes,
and you're
ma'am.
also an entrepreneur. So maybe we could talk about what you don't do. So,
uh,
where do you want to get started?
well, I mean, I wouldn't have any of that if it wasn't for CROE and
Hmm.
being around Brother Munir. So, and it's like that radio in the head. You say if you're good enough, you'll pick up on each other. Lord knows I ain't good enough, but there are some things that we are able to pick up on. But you had mentioned about the studio. That's something else I mentioned. Sunday. It's like, can you think of a black-owned television studio here in Chicago? And I told him, I give you a second. I said, time is up. It's only one, and that's us. And I had to be reminded about that. And and I was just trying to get the people to understand that we have to respect the architect. This
Mm,
was a vision that was in Brother Manid's head. It started off by us going downtown, but it was, Munir take over anything where he was at. So we pretty much could do whatever we want, but it still wasn't our place. So, you know, God forbid if it was a holiday, they decided one day, well, you can't come here anymore.
mm-hmm.
He thought about that. So he said we needed our own.
Yeah.
And and I know this is not exactly where you wanted to go to, but it's just so significant because I was talking to the brother that reminded me about the place. It's like it used to be a den, as everybody know, Fuzzy's Den, and the
Mm,
owner passed, but he had a wife who did not like Munir, and she did not want to sell a place to Munir. So, Yakub was one of us, so we did learn. We know a little technology. So, Sister Jill Rockman was
mm.
used as the front person to purchase this place. And then when she saw Brother Manil was a part of it, you could just see the steam coming out of her head, but it was too late. But
Mhm.
we're here now and we have
Yeah.
been operating ever since. So I'm honored to be a part of this. And yeah, I am a producer, and Brother Manil always wanted to what we call replacements.
Mm,
He's always looking for a replacement, whether it was here or there. So, you're a replacement because you're doing that work. I'm here, I'm doing the work, but we have people. I'm doing, as you said, I'm doing other things. So I have to be able to do those other things. So we have Jamil Munir's
mm,
grandson who's learning the directing and the ins and outs of the operation to be able to do it. So he's coming along. It takes time though. The millennials. It takes a little extra care
yes.
for him, but he catches on like most young people with technology and things. He
Hmm.
catches on quick. You just have to keep him focused. But I think he has a bright future ahead of him if he remains focused and holds on to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He'll definitely be okay.
Yeah. So let's back up. We jumped right in, Brother Mandene, you and I feel like anytime I'm talking to a member of CROE, we have that background with each other. So I want
Yes,
to I want to give the people an opportunity to catch up. When we refer to CROE, we're talking about the Coalition for Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is an institution of higher learning there in Chicago, where the legacy and achievements and the archives, video, print, audio are maintained by these beautiful brothers and sisters. And the co founders are Brother Shahid Muslim, Brother Halif Muhammad, and a previous guest that I mentioned, Brother Munir Muhammad. And
yes,
so
ma'am.
let's give the people a little bit of background about CROE and the purpose that it serves and why and how you branched off into the media outlets talking about radio and television.
Well, Crow started, I say about it's good. We're going to our 33rd year now. Actually, it's 34 before incorporation purposes. But I always say is
Yeah.
it's 1 year less, so it's actually 34, but we'll say 33. But that's a long time.
Mm,
And Crow was started um, basically, Brother Mayor really wanted to get a billboard with the picture of the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the question, "Do you remember this man?" And it went into something else. It just grew into something else. Um, he saw that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was being written out of history, and he sounded the alarm. And he went. He talked to the I always say Brother Nick could have had anybody by his side, and he still would have done it. But he always tried to find help,
mm,
and you saw that in his blood brother Halif Muhammad and a brother like a blood brother to him, Brother Shahid Muslim, who was the first officer
mm,
in the Nation of Islam under Messenger Elijah Muhammad. and they just went from there. It was another co-founder, but he didn't hold on. But Brother Manir, he keeps going.
Yeah.
So they went from there, and they started they got a place. Brother Manir was always, I don't know if his southern background as far as ownership on the land, but he never, I guess he never wanted. I'm answering the question myself. He never wanted to be held hostage.
Yes.
So they used to rent out different places to for meetings, but he saw, as far as they needed something of their that they could call their
Mm-hmm.
own. So CROE was over at 9145 South Ashland, and they were renting. But Brother Manir, being the consummate businessman, he negotiated a set price, a set renter's fee for a long period of time, but he wasn't satisfied with that. And he went and they found this place. And I think I became a member right before that, around 1991. And they got CROE where it's currently located at 2435 West 71st Street. And, they he thought at the time, he always tells the story, he thought at the time that the place was too big, and it was a Caucasian fella who used to hear him call in on the radio. And he could have been saying this sincerely, or he could have been saying that as a selling point, but he said, oh, you can handle it. You got this. But little did he know that he was talking to the right one, because he
Right.
could handle it. So CROE was established at a new location. Well, not decided, but CROE moved on to a new location. And we just went from there. So shortly after, CROE, we own this building.
Yeah.
I don't recall how long afterwards, but he constantly worked on it once
Yeah.
once that took place. So, and not only do we own the CROE, but we own where CROE Studio is at, that building next to it, and the parking lot across the street. So it was always about ownership with Brother Manir and having your own. So nobody can tell us, well, we have to close up now. You have to go.
And that's just a matter of designing and being responsible for your own destiny.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Absolutely.
And I recall hearing stories of Brother Munir talking about it, and Brother Halif talking about calling into radio stations, or the co-founder staying up late listening to the various radio stations, to hear someone say something about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad so that they can put it in its proper context and perspective.
Right. Brother Manir, WVON was at one time 24 hours, meaning that there was always a radio host on there during that time. So Brother Manir would be up all night, just listening on the radio. And he said, even if he's not up, and if he thought he heard something about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he would get up. And if they weren't talking about him, especially in a negative way, he would get up. He said he would call him up and say, get up. We got to, they're talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They would call in.
Yeah.
So as he would talk about, joke with the other people and call them professional phone calls, he said, we all started off that way as professional phone callers.
Yeah.
We just evolved, from that.
Right.
Because many of those people, those professional phone callers, they're still calling in to this day.
Yeah.
Fact about it, when you were on the show, one of the Negroes called in then. He was a professional phone caller then, and you see what he's doing now. So it's no solutions with them. He just he will recommend a bunch of books, and he'll just want to talk about the problem and leave it at that.
Yeah.
But that's just that's the way our people are, though. So, but that's how we started off. So being on radio, doing radio, I guess that was the kind of the introduction into media per se. But it was a brother who we have to pay homage to. He's still among us, W.L. Lillard. I don't know if you ever heard Brother Manir mention that name, but W.L. Lillard, he actually had a television studio. So he was almost like one of the first people to have a television studio. W.L. Lillard, his name of his show was Straight Talk. He used to bring Brother Manir on all the time. Then he started, Brother Manir wanted to bring up, always looking for replacements. He used to have WL bring on the young people here at CROE and other members of CROE. It was just a constant thing. And so, and WL was so significant about W.L. Lillard, Mr. Lillard, is that he brought the equipment. He taught himself how to use the equipment. And he helped nurture a lot of people into going on into other, fields of communication. He still does show is more internet now. So he's still active. So he's definitely still around. But I want to pay homage to him because he definitely he was one of those very first ones. He even did a sitcom.
Oh wow. I have to go
Sitcom.
back and look for that.
Yes, ma'am. So he definitely was one of those people that introduced, and he showed Brother Manette, that you can make a studio anywhere, because we used to, go down and get the equipment from Cable Access and bring it back here to CROE, get a couple of chairs and a table,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a backdrop, and boom, there you go. You got a studio.
Right,
So that's
right.
really how it started off. So,
And
and
so
then go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
want to say, so, CROE went from something like that to as sophisticated and state of the art that you have today. And often when I'm speaking on the podcast, I talk about the importance of media and us having ownership of Black media. And I encourage my listeners to go and visit croe.org, CROE.org, so
Yes,
that
ma'am.
they can see and experience what it is to see independent media, independent Black media, because we have what is so-called Black media, but it's from a corporate perspective or a corporate purse string. And so
Yes, ma'am.
by having your platform and your network, we have finally an outlet that is unfiltered and that is the truth. And so going from something like a couple chairs and a table and a backdrop to
Yes,
having
ma'am.
an entire studio, I think that's so remarkable. And in general, for CROE to be maintained for 30 plus years, we talk about marriages that don't last 5 to 10 years
Right.
between two
Right.
people.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the co-founders and plus the coalition, the body of the members. It's a
Right.
really remarkable thing.
It is. It is, and it's nothing that can be taken lightly.
Hmm.
And and when you, again, as I spoke on Sunday, when you take out the engine of a car, no, that's it. But
Mm.
when you take the engine, that spark plug, meaning someone like a brother Munir, that's devastating. But
Hmm.
it was always a lesson. Even the time he talked to you, even when he cursed you out, it
Yeah.
was a lesson in that. But and as we said, always talking about replacements. And sometimes I know with someone like me, I tend to shy away from certain things, but you know, this is it right now.
Yeah.
It's like you have no choice. If you know better, you do better. If you know
Right.
what needs to take place, what needs to happen, then you have to function in that capacity. And so, you know, to lose a brother like that and still be able to go on, and no, not without its hiccups or
Hmm.
distractions or those naysayers. We lost supporters. People that have come here, no longer come. I mean, it's like what we see all the time, but
Right.
you know, the idea is still here. The idea is pure, so we
Hmm.
can't get away from that. The person with the idea had the best intentions, and he showed that.
Right.
Even if he rubbed the person the wrong way, you know, it was it was only because he wanted to make sure that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not being misrepresented, and that
Right.
that meant if that meant you got hit by the Scud missile, you just got hit. It's war.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes. So we
Right.
and we operate in that same vein, and I just try to, as Brother Munir would always say, you don't. He doesn't want to be anyone. I don't want to be Brother Munir, but I take those attributes. I settle on the
Hmm.
best part, and I take those attributes that he's shown,
Yeah.
and I couple that with me, and then I move forward.
Yeah. So, in talking about ownership and being responsible for our own destiny, just a few short years ago, you opened Legacy Men's Boutique,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
in
ma'am.
the vein of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of doing something for self. And so many of our people, and this is something also I try to convey, Brother Mandene, on the show,
Hmm.
is it's important that we have Black economics,
Right.
but we don't need to replace the capitalist system that we're coming out of, right?
Correct.
So
Yes.
we are to be able to do things for ourselves, service ourselves, but not take advantage of our people. And so with Legacy Men's Boutique, it is a business, but it's also a service to the community.
It is, and I started because I wanted to have a place. Well, it started even before that. I was in this. People always talking about giving back,
Mhm.
and I guess my time that came that I was in that spirit of actually giving back, and you would think that would be, you know, um, like a no-brainer being a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but there's always something more that you can do.
Mhm.
So I had started collecting like suits and shirts and just kind of dress clothes with the mindset that I wanted to be able to give like those young people who are graduating from eighth grade or high school, or they needed something for their luncheon, for them, those their parents that couldn't afford anything, for them to be able to come
Mm.
and get what they needed, you know. But I was just becoming a collector. I didn't have a store, and I didn't have I was just piling up clothes in the basement of of the home where I lived, and it was a friend of mine at the time. She had suggested that I open up a men's resale boutique on the south side because there wasn't one. So I
Mm.
said, sounds like a good idea, but again, being the person that likes to, find a nice comfort zone, I nestled up in there, and that's where I would be. So, but after about a year of, dragging my feet, I did a couple of pop-up shops,
Mm-hmm.
but I figured a pop-up shop was safe, else I'm done with
Right.
it. I can go on about my business. You don't have to see
Right.
me again. I guess like typical Negro tendencies, no responsibility. I'm good. I'm done for the day. That's it. But happened to saw the old location where Legacy used to be at, and I thought, this is not a bad spot. It's not too big, not too small, and later I learned that it actually was too small.
Mm.
But having friendship in all walks of life, I knew the owner of the building, and I talked to him about it. He was so busy, he kind of took a minute, for my liking. So I just went through the regular protocol of, people that want to rent. And when he found out about it, he speaks with a stern voice, so you'll know if he's playing or not. He said, "I told you I was going to give you the place. Just be patient. You hit the keys, blah,
Mm-hmm.
But it just went from there. So, but as I said, after a while, just kind of because I take donations,
Mm-hmm.
and and still with the same mindset, I wanted a place where young people could come with their parents or by themselves to be able to get what they need and still have some money left over in their pocket. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it started off that way. It's still going that way, but I always take donations, so we just began to burst at the seams. And then the other thing was back to that comfort level again. I was inside, if you recall, I was inside of a building called the Marketplace,
Yes.
so you really couldn't see me. So, I want more business, but I want to be hidden too. So I have
Right.
to, just silly thinking. So, scared of growth, scared of
Yeah.
expansion. So I just, and that it was time to move on. And the owner, Mr. Hickman, actually offered me another spot, and it's a little strip mall right off the Dan Ryan in Chicago, but I felt it was gonna take me away from like that neighborhood feel. So
Mm-hmm.
I declined, and he wasn't too happy about it. And I was like, if you had anything else, then I ain't got nothing else. So yeah, I was like, okay, But later on, I saw the spot where I'm now located at, and it had been vacant for a long time. So I made sure I found him on one of those on the day where he was in a good mood. And I asked him about it. He
Mm.
said, "Oh yeah, and then." He said, "Yeah, we can do that. Just give me a little time." But a little time took about a year,
Mm.
So it was a year, and then of course, it's so crazy. The day I was going to actually see the place was the same day that that Brother Mandene made his transition.
Wow.
Right. So and then after that, it was like everything else kicked in with the COVID and so
Yeah.
it just kind of snowballed. And then all of a sudden it became, it was done, because they were working on it.
Yeah.
So it became available, and then they had the nerve to rush me out, but that's another story. but but yeah, so I moved on. It's a bigger spot. It's a nice warm look to it. The people like it. I enjoy going there. I think it's still something that's needed in the community, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud to be a part of it. So, and I recognize that a lot of men that come in my store, they can afford whatever they want,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a large amount of men that come in who can't, and those are the ones I tend to cater
Mm.
the most because that's what the mission started off on, being able to have affordable clothes and accessories at your store prices. So that's the tagline, and that's what I stand on.
That's wonderful. So this is the third or fourth year for Legacy Men's Boutique?
About the third year,
Third
you
year.
know.
That's wonderful. And it's and like you said, it's so necessary. I know, here in South Jersey, they have closets,
Yes,
cyber
ma'am.
closets, if you will, for,
Yeah.
young women or young men who are interested in getting closed for a job interview, or shelters, and women need to come out and look for employment, or like you
Right.
said, young men need to come and look for employment. And so I think that's so wonderful. And I'll tell you, when I visited the store the last time I was in Chicago, even your staff
Yeah.
just, I mean, I can't say enough how nice it is to feel at home when you're not at home.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, look, we're family, and the people that help me out are part of this, so they're
Mhm.
family as well. But as you mentioned a little earlier about the helping people out, the young ladies and things. Of
Mhm.
course, I do all men's clothes, but it's a young lady. I can't even think of her name, and if she walked up to me right now and say, "How you doing?" I wouldn't know her from Adam. But she called me at the old location. She called me at least 4 times,
Mm.
or it was some type of program that she was over, and she sent young men over there.
Mhm.
One has been a customer ever since, but the other ones I couldn't I couldn't recognize in the police lineup. But I was just happy to be able to help them out. There's
Mhm.
been a lot of people, that I helped out, but it's not about the fanfare about it, but and the way that people will have donated anything. It's not like I have to say, well, hey, we're doing this. Can you
Mhm.
donate? People are just they've been gracious with
Yeah.
their belongings, and I'm happy for it, and I still do that to this day. Even though you get people who are less fortunate, who are battling with addictions.
Yeah. Right.
They come on a regular, and they don't always want clothes. They want a
Right.
little. So every now and then I try not to make it a habit, but they come on a regular though. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and one thing that I do that I've done even before I opened the store, I used to just buy a whole bunch of white socks, white
Mhm.
sweat socks, because I read that a lot of those that are less fortunate during, especially the wintertime, that's one thing that they definitely need,
Right.
because if you notice when it's cold out, your feet get a little damp and
Mhm.
moist.
Right.
So we go home and change and don't think
Right.
nothing of it. They don't have that leisure.
Right.
So that's something I still do to this day. I keep just a big bags full of white socks, and a lot of
Mhm.
times, I may not have any funds to give them. So I say, well, I have socks. And they're like, man, it's almost like I gave them $100 bill.
Yeah.
So that's a little side thing, but it's still in that same vein of giving back and helping out.
Mhm.
So it's
Right.
just I've been blessed. I'm not rich by no means, but whatever little bit I have, as they say, it's a blessing to be a blessing.
Yes, it is. And now, Brother Mandene, you're a radio show host.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and it's interesting. I've been, familiar with Crow for about 12 years now.
Yeah.
And in the 12 years, you were always behind the camera.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes,
were, or far away from the microphone.
right, right, right.
And so now to see you at the microphone hosting a show weekly on WVON, the Talk of Chicago. Well, first, let's talk to the people about the Talk of Chicago so they can understand the significance of you being on that radio station.
Well, WVON, formerly the Voice of the Negro, now the Voice of the Nation. It's an institution. It's been around since the '60s. I don't know the exact year, but it's not lightweight. So it has catapulted a lot of careers and a lot of voices that we pay homage to this day. Whether it's
Mm.
Wesley South, the Purvis Band, Herb Kent, Mary D. The list goes on and on. So to be a part of that, even though I'm what's called a broker, so I buy time. So, but it's an honor, and it's still walking in that those footprints of
Mhm.
what our dear brother Munir did, as far as when he hosted the show, and when he used to call in, because I started calling in. And I don't think she made me saying this, but the owner of the radio station, Miss Melody Span Cooper, um, who's the daughter of Purvis Span,
Mm.
I used to call in because I mean, it was something that I was doing over the last couple of years, just calling in to different radio shows, in VON in particular. But it was also a brother who made his transition last year, Harold Davis,
Mm.
on his show, and I would call in, and Brother Manette had no problem with me representing Crow, and I would call in, and I still do it. not so much now since I guess I have my own program. I guess I kind of feel a little funny about that.
But you would call in
But
as a guest?
yeah, absolutely. I've been a
Hmm.
guest of late also, but I wanted to, I called in and, it's like that practice was there. And so I spoke
Mm.
to Miss Melody Span Cooper. Actually, she called. No, I take that back. I made my comment on the radio program, and I left it at that. And the radio show was still on, and the host, who I know as well, she was like, "Mandene, if you're still listening, Melody wants you to give her a call." I was like,
Mm.
"Uh-oh." I was like, "She's like a big sister." I was like, "Man, did I say something wrong?"
Right.
And so I called in. She was like, "Man, Dean, that was a great comment,
Mm.
And they have these commentators that call, and she said, maybe sometime in the future, maybe you can do a commentary, or
Mm.
even like during one of the holidays, you can act as a filler." So I
Right.
said, it was a little scary at the time. Like, okay, well, that's fine. I didn't think it was going to happen anytime soon, so I really
Right.
had no mind. But and I hope I'm not going past your question, but I actually called, since I'm in a new location for the store. It's a gentleman, it's a brother by the name of RJ Dale. He used to have Dale Advertising, and he used to always say you're going to either advertise going into business or going out of business.
Mm.
And so since I'm in a new location, rent is a little more, and I want to be successful. So
Right.
I started to invest a little into advertising.
Mm.
And so, of course, Crow was that first one. So I,
Mm.
brought airtime with CROETV. Oh, excuse me, and VON was next on my list because a lot of people listen to radio because you're going to
Right.
be in your car or on your
Exactly.
phone, so it's easy to listen to radio. So I called in and I spoke to Miss Span's husband and about band radio time, and he was like, he said, "Well, I got one better. I got this open slot on Tuesday nights. This was the beginning of December. This is like that
Mm.
first week of December. So I just happened to call him on a Tuesday. He said you can come on. You can talk about your store. You can talk about Crow or whatever else you want to talk about. He said you can come in tonight if you want to. I'm like, whoa,
Wow.
that's a little soon right there because it's 3 hours. I'm like, what am I going to talk about for 3 hours by myself?
Yeah.
So I said, well, let me think about it. But I said, I'm interested. Maybe if so, then I just shoot for the following Tuesday.
Mm.
And so I thought about it. I sought counsel with a couple of people, Brother Minister being one as well.
Mhm.
And he told me to do it, go
Yeah.
for it. So, but it was just another time for me to step out my comfort zone. And that was really stepping out my comfort zone. So I knew I,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, when I hear you all on the radio, I mean, you all just flow through it, but I could probably do it 1 hour, but we're talking about 3 hours, though. So
Yeah, it's a lot of
anything can
time.
happen. It's a lot of time. So I
Yeah.
thought about having a co-host, and I couldn't think of a better person than Brother Emmanuel Omar, who assists me in that endeavor. So he's been a blessing in that respect. So yeah, but like I joke, the drug dealers, the first taste is free. So that first month is free. Was free, I should say, the month of
Right.
December.
Right.
So if I want to continue on, now I have to pay. So now I have to step out even more and get more
Mhm.
aggressive. So we got to find sponsors and things of that
Right.
sort to go on. But I see it as another vehicle to help us
Mhm.
get our message out, and also help those a lot of those people you may not and
Mhm.
hear from on a regular. So it's give a chance to give a platform to those people we normally wouldn't hear from. So, but I see it as Crow Media, not just Crow TV, but
Yes.
Crow Media now because Brother Neil was saying that also because he wanted us to that upstairs he was
Mhm.
trying to renovate that into becoming like an additional studio to do a lot of podcasts,
Yeah.
which again, that's why you're doing yours.
That's
Brother
right.
Yo,
That's right.
Brother Yosef is doing the podcast, and Sister Gina is doing her podcast. And he had mentioned to me, so you think about doing a podcast, maybe you can talk about fashion or clothes or something like that. I was like, you kind of shun it off, and then you think back and like, man, how come I didn't talk to him more about it, or
Mhm.
this, that, or the other. But just
Yeah.
like you always say, if I coulda, woulda, shoulda. So I see this as an opportunity to just take what he suggested and to move
Mhm.
forward with it. So just like the store is needed, an additional outlet for communication is
Mhm.
needed because a lot of Muslims are coming on the show now that we wouldn't hear from. So
Right.
I'm honored to be able to do this, and yeah, it needs to be done. It needs to
Yeah.
be done. So I'll praise and do for Allah.
Yes, Brother Andy and I often talk about the competing message, and I think that the Black community needs a competing message to the mainstream messaging, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
somebody has to bring that voice,
Yes, ma'am.
and
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
grateful and I'm thankful as well for being a guest on your radio show. It was really just an extraordinary thing to be on WVON, the Talk of
Yes, ma'am.
Chicago, and
Yes, ma'am.
brother Emmanuel Omar being there. I kind of think of him as your Ed McMahon, so to speak.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
think you all have a nice energy, between the two of you.
Yeah.
But in addition, let's talk about, there are other people who are listening and who may feel the same way that you do. I'll say, as you said, the investment that Brother Munir put into you, into all of those that came in contact with him, all that and all that you've experienced. Um, I say sometimes the person that doesn't want the microphone is the person that needs to be on the microphone. And I say that as someone myself
Yes,
who didn't want to speak publicly to anybody. I could talk to you over in the corner, but to
yeah.
be, in center stage, that was something I absolutely would dread. I mean, if you
One
ask me
one
what
thing about a one thing about a Muslim, we can hem you up in the corner. We can talk to you for a long period of
I'm good
time.
in the corner, but
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be on stage. So there are other people like that. So what would you say to them? Because it just seemed so organic, Brother
Mm.
Mandene, for you to
I'll praise and
with
do
your
for
store, right? You
yes,
you
ma'am.
came from a location that was inside of a location to be in a street side location.
Right.
You
Right.
came from behind the camera and out of the control room to now you have your own microphone. So just that journey and being okay with being uncomfortable. What do you have to say about that?
I think you said it. Just yeah, we have to learn to be okay with being uncomfortable because in order for us to grow, we're going to have some discomfort. And this is, I guess, this is my discomfort moment. And like I said, not to, well, I didn't say it, but reflecting. A lot of people say, 2020 was rough for me. 2019 was my hell, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still standing, and a lot of them place a burden on you can't bear, and for me to be able to show my gratitude as far as doing this work, being uncomfortable in order to grow for the bigger picture,
Mm,
for the organization to grow, because none of us are going to be Brother Munir. We're not gonna do one person. Not going to do that.
mhm,
It's gonna have, almost have to be like a combination, but until we get those combinations, somebody had to do the work. So we had to step out and be uncomfortable, being comfortable, being
mhm,
uncomfortable. So um, and you know what? It's kind of funny because I still kind of hide because it's like it's radio. So in my mind, it's like I'm really hiding behind the microphone, but then it can't be hiding because I go Facebook Live, so people can
right.
still see me. So at one point, I'm like, you know what? Forget it. We in it. We here now. So let's
Mhm,
just go for it. Let's just go for it. And it's being at that age, not exactly a vet and not being
mhm,
young. So I'm 47. So, but I still have seen enough and have
mhm,
witnessed enough to be able to talk about certain things and to know a little bit about a lot of things.
mhm,
And so I'm grateful with that. So and then to have a like I said, to have a co-host to be able to, and I appreciate that, brother, because he's my senior, but he
mhm,
allows me to, obviously to be the front person,
yeah.
or it's like, to take the lead on certain things. But I know he's knowledgeable and he researches things. So
Oh my
and
gosh, he's an
I just could,
encyclopedia.
yeah, so I couldn't think of a better person to have by my side doing a radio show. So it's like we're here now. So
Yeah.
the only thing now is you just gotta keep funding it. But
Mhm.
in that vein of Brother Muhammad, you just gotta go out there and find that money. So
Right.
because until we get our own,
That's
this is
right.
what we have to do. So
That's
this is the
right.
sacrifice right now until we get our own. So
Mhm.
it's cool. So
Yeah.
I'm battle tested. I'm war ready. So
Right.
let's go for it.
So in just, talking about that, going out there and getting the money, the I had the good fortune of traveling with Brother Munir. I call it a day in Brother Munir, and I mean I was all over Chicago. I was in the Secretary of State's office. I was at the I guess the Cook County
The county
committee
clerk.
meeting. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh. I mean, he had us all over Chicago. We were underground at some point.
yes, ma'am.
Everybody who is somebody knows him. I believe the mayor was out of town, so we didn't get to see the mayor, but we saw the second in
Yeah,
command. So, but he was able, and he did a really good job of rubbing elbows,
right,
right? And now
right.
here we are with COVID, and they tell us that we have to be 6 feet away from each
Yeah,
other.
yes,
So,
ma'am.
what is that like as well? Because, to be a not for profit, right? To not be corporate funded, to
Yes,
not take grant money, government money, but to be independent and go to the people so that we can keep giving the people what it is that we have to give them. What transitions have you made, or what innovations have you employed so that you can continue um, you know, furthering the mission of CROE and doing the work of CROE, and fundraising for CROE?
and it's so and I want to reflect before I answer that, because it's God, it's really a blessing when I think of it, um, because the shutdown didn't happen till after last year's Founders Day.
Yes.
And it was just, and I know, because I planned this, when we planned it, I haven't man what's happening during that year, because it's always like a political year.
Mm-hmm.
This group of people is running, this group of people is running. I knew for the most part people were going to be emotional, because this was the first Founders Day post Brother
Yes.
Munir.
Right.
So I knew that was going to be in our favor, not to, and with all due respect,
I understand.
but but the election was a major election during that time also.
Right.
And so that, and I'm trying to think, was that before or after? But so the people won, but they couldn't go to their and I think the election was afterwards. So the
Yeah,
fundraising
it
was
was
first.
after, because
It was
I
after.
remember being there and someone wanted to talk to me about his campaign, and I said, "Sir, with all due respect, I don't live in Chicago. I can't vote for you."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was definitely after then. So, but I mean, I was like, man, I mean, look how God blesses us.
Yeah.
I mean, for us to be able, and most of the people, well, not most, but a lot of people that would normally supported us either didn't get opportunity or took the COVID as an opportunity not to support us. So,
Yeah.
but we still had a lot of support, and there was a lot of people out, and it was a blessing. It was a
Mm-hmm.
blessing. So here we are now, and then with the COVID also, it's giving a lot of people a chance to have behind COVID. Well, we can't come out right now, whatever. So, but here we are now, 2021, and so like you said, we have to, as everybody says, we have to pivot now.
Mm.
So obviously, we're not going to have Founders Day in a traditional sense of everybody coming to CROE. We can't do that.
Yeah.
So of course it'll be virtual, um, and I believe it will be the second week of March. And yeah, so it was a couple of ideas that were posted how to exactly raise the money, but I think it'll be announced, but we're
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to have something. So we have to be creative, like with anybody else, but
Yeah.
the phones still work, and
Yeah.
so I can still make phone calls. So
That's right.
nothing has changed. So
That's
they
right.
still we get those phone calls or those letters or
Mm-hmm.
something. So definitely we will be moving forward with that. So, but as far as generating funds, and I mean, a lot of people have started, and um, popular belief have want you to think that people don't read anymore.
Mm.
People are in the house with the COVID, but a lot of people still read books. So a
That's
lot of
right.
people have been inquiring about books on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad more so, and the DVDs and the CDs,
Mm-hmm.
but more with the books though. So that's something, and then of course, we tell the people, you can always support us, just
Right.
send a donation and send charity and send
Yes.
something just to help us, to continue doing what we're doing, because the television shows that we do are very informative.
Mm.
It brings great people on like yourself, and then it's a chance to inform the people about what's going on. And but we just continue to navigate like everybody else, but we would definitely we'll be okay
Yeah.
until they open up outside again.
Until they open up outside. That's
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
I'll tell you, I'm grateful, when I see the programs and the guests that you have on the show. Dr. Terry Mason is so insightful.
Yeah.
He's a medical doctor, and Dr. Tyrone Powers, who's a former FBI agent, and he is um, always giving us relevant information that we can use now. You've had the editor in chief of the Final Call newspaper
Yeah.
there. Um, there,
Yeah.
you've had politicians,
Right. And
there.
that's been a blessing. No, that hasn't changed.
Hmm.
People they still come on. They still honor the show. They come on. They're learning Jamil now. I mean, Jamil is not obviously is not his father, but he's doing the best he can. But he has a gift of gab. He can
Yeah.
talk.
Hmm.
So all you got to do is get a little background on the information on the people and be aware of the current events. You can go from there because an
Hmm.
hour goes very quickly. And so
Yes.
you mentioned all those guests, and I know you're humble, but you have to include yourself because whenever you come on, it's a smooth show. I mean, you're a logical thinker. That's why I was surprised even when you came on the show with me. I was like, "You're not a doctor?" You're like, "No, sir."
Oh.
I'm like, "Well, it don't matter now. You here?" So I mean, but it was so great, and I had so many people compliment your segment. It was like, "You got to bring that sister back." Then one person was like, "Matter of fact, see if she can come on every Tuesday." I was like, "Well, she got her own show, so I mean, she's a part of something else." So, but and that's something else I wanted
Hmm.
to bring up that we have to do this because the way we're bombarded with all the other so-called major mainstream media, and now
Right.
they got this thing where they're breaking news, but it's the
Right.
same story they just discussed 10 minutes ago.
Right.
But they say it with a straight face. It's not breaking news, sir. That's old, man. So but they
Yes.
just keep on doing it. They don't care. So we have to be in that same vein. We have to keep on. And I look at I wish I wasn't at the same time as Muhammad Speaks, but everybody may not be listening to Muhammad Speaks. So
Right.
I'll get those people that you don't get and vice
Mhm.
versa. But
Yeah.
they gonna get this work one way or the other.
That's right.
They're gonna get us one way or the other. You can't escape Muhammad for too long now.
That's
So
right.
and between I know what y'all doing over there. Because you all going venturing into television as well, and what we're doing here, like I said, it's just Crow East, and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
we're, we're, we're going to grow because we have to because this is a everyday operation, so we have to work every day. Our people are not dead only on the weekends; they're
That's
dead
right.
every day. So
Yeah,
we
that's
have to
right.
go out and work every day. So
Mhm.
we got to go get our people, and this it's important. So we have to continue. It's just the sad part about it is we just don't have the enough help,
Yeah.
because we need the extra more than one newspaper, more than one
Yeah.
radio show, more than one television show, because we're just that much in trouble. Because the
Mm.
people, as I say, they almost fooled me because I thought they was really voting against Trump, but they really believe in Biden. They
Yeah.
really do. So, and that's what's sad because they think he's going to be actually the cowboy on the white horse with the
Mhm.
white hat to come in and
Right.
save the day. So, but nah, they're just rocking us to sleep.
Yeah.
But we got to continue to sound the alarm and let our people know what's going on. So, and that's our job, sister. And that's why I'm on now with Nurah Speaks, because even with the podcast, it's a constant thing. We have to constantly, the same way they bombard us, we got to
That's
bombard them.
right. That's
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
We have to be relentless. I
Yep.
believe it was in Our Savior Has Arrived, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in talking about how relentless others are with, putting our people to sleep. We have to exceed that enthusiasm, as he said. We have to exceed their enthusiasm. And
Yeah.
so, the Nurah Speaks podcast tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community because we have went to sleep on what's been important to us. And I think somebody has to contribute to the reawakening, and Nurah Speaks hopes to do that. You're doing that with WVON and all of the great shows you do with Crow Television. And I'll tell you, Brother Jamil sitting in has done such a fabulous job. And just this last week, when we finished with our Sunday general meeting,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
turned on Crow, and it was like I was looking at his father and his sister
Yeah.
sitting in the seat, with Sister Aisha and Brother Jamil. It was like I was looking at Sister Agina and Brother Munir.
Yeah.
And that is history. We're going on. We have replacements, and we have to train and inspire them so that they can
Absolutely.
they can take the mantle when it's their turn, or take the baton and run with it.
and that young sister works with us on the production team.
Mm.
And when she came on, I think it was Sister Akila. I was in the control room with her and Jamil Munir, and Jamil Munir said, he said, my dad said he's going to take her 30 minutes. I said, they're going longer than 30 minutes. And when they got to about the 40-minute mark, Sister Akila, though, she said, somebody said it was going to go longer too. I said, that someone was me,
Mm-hmm.
because I know how these things
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Because that young lady spoke strong.
Yeah.
And but I just know when this because Jamil had a show planned out, but it didn't work out. And so the
Okay.
sister was there. And a lot of times, those great shows that people praise Brother Neil about, those old shows, those are the ones that just was a spur of the moment. I didn't
Mhm.
like them because I had to find a tape or something,
Right.
just that. But it turned out well for you all.
Yeah.
But I knew this was going to be a good interview. I didn't realize it was going to be that good. But
Yeah.
that young sister, and she struck me when she said that something to the effect of, um, if I tell you no, I don't have to explain why I'm telling you no. I was like,
Mm.
okay, I
Right.
got to hold on
Right.
to that one then.
Right.
So, but no,
That's right.
that comes for strong mental genes. I ain't got to
Mm-hmm.
give you no explanation why. So, or
Yes,
no, but no, that was a great interview, and it was organic,
it
and
was.
yeah, but that's when those are some of the best interviews, when they just come off the cuff like that.
Hmm. I can't agree with you more. Boy, that sister, her poise and sophistication and, how grounded she was. Brother Mandine, because I work with our young sisters
Yes, ma'am.
and we don't see too much of that, and that
Yes,
was just incredibly remarkable. And I was just so proud. I didn't really want to stay on the show. I just wanted to give that sister some love. And when I
yes.
called in, just to let her know that I see you and I'm grateful for you.
Yes, ma'am. But that's another thing people don't realize, when we doing these shows. Because I would sit, and it's some brothers here that do shows on VON, and they can just talk. And I just sit there. There's one brother, he used to do the show at night like me, and I think he was only about an hour though, maybe 2 hours. But I would call him. I said, "Look, man, I don't have a comment, man. I just gotta compliment you on being able to talk that long." And it's like, if you didn't get a call, he don't care. And when I hear you and Brother Minister, and no slight to Brother Minister, but especially you, it's like you just flow. I'm
Mm,
like, man, no callers or nothing. So it's like, but when you do call, but everybody wants callers though.
mm-hmm.
Callers help the
Yeah.
show move faster.
Right.
And then you may spark something. You may make the host remember something, or
Right.
you may ask something that somebody in the viewing audience may be too shy to ask.
Right.
But I encourage, and you're one of those consistent callers. So we appreciate that. So now,
Yeah.
whenever you want to call in, please call in. I mean,
Yes.
but it's helpful, and it's encouraging, and
Hmm.
it's really encouraging. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So if nobody else, I'm thanking you for always
Oh,
calling in with
yeah,
not
that's
only just a comment or a question, but an intelligent comment or question. So I just thank you, sister.
yes, brother. I'm grateful for you, and I thank you for your time. I know you have to get
That's
to your. Yeah, I know you have to get to your show. But before we close down, I do want you to be able to share with the audience where they can find Legacy Men's Boutique online and in person, and CROE as well. But one of the things I say at the end of every show is be the movement.
Yes,
And so many of our people are waiting for someone else to make something happen for them or for their family or for their community. And what you're doing with CROE, with coming in as a member and then finding yourself very quickly an integral member,
yes,
with
ma'am.
being there with Brother Munir, traveling the way you did and just being his right hand man and there at the facility in the studios, um, and taking on the role of entrepreneur and businessman with Legacy Men's Boutique, and now continuing to amplify the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with WVON.
Yes, ma'am.
You are somebody that is really having significant impacts.
All praise
Um,
Allah.
because you're bringing awareness everywhere you go, because where you go the message goes. So
Ma'am.
how would you encourage others to be the movement, and where else do you see CROE television studios or CROE TV or the organization going in its impact with the community in Chicago and abroad?
I would tell the people to find some way to get involved. I mean, I know everybody is not going to actually do the work. If you like the work, send in a check, send a donation. We got one brother, it's an older brother. He sends in $10 or $20 like every month. I mean, it's the thought. I mean,
Mm,
just the fact that he's a scrap collector. So I mean, he does. I don't know what he has personally. I don't even, and I never seen him, but he's been supporting us. for a couple of years now, and he's just a consistent supporter. So, and he tells people about the show. He's from Minneapolis, so the show airs in Minneapolis, but that's like his ministry. He say when he's out there at the scrapyard, he tells people about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and tell them about the show. So I mean, if it's just that little bit, tell them about the show. Tell them about the radio show. Get involved. Send encouragement. Send that what was that love offering. So but
Yes.
but the more people that's physically involved, and I know with the COVID and everything that keeps people from doing that, that's all the more reason why to send the charity in. But if you're able to come through, tell some people about it. With social media, it's so easy now to share,
Right.
the information, share it, just share the information. It's so many ways. And I look at CROETV now as, continue to evolve into CROE Media, because that's what we have to think about.
Yeah.
And I mean, and what you're doing is a part of that also with Muhammad Speaks Radio and Nurah Speaks podcast and Lead, Teach, and Style.
Yes, sir.
Those are all branches on the same tree.
That's
So
right.
we're all in this together. So we just have to continue to encourage each other, continue putting out that information. And if media and communication wasn't so important, when a country invades another country, that wouldn't be the first place that they bomb.
That's right.
They bomb the communication place because they want to knock that out. So it must be something about it. It must be something important. So it is important, and we have to continue doing it. And I see CROE as a beacon of light to continue to get that message out. And as you said so beautifully, to amplify the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and to be able, and I try to make sure, even with the radio program, as we do with TV, is to play something of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what I like to call a moment with the messenger,
Yeah.
something. Because like I said, you're going to get this work one way or the other.
That's
They
right.
get the messenger. So, we just have to continue on and put our foot on the gas and just continue moving forward, because we have to operate. We have to live every day like it's our last, and every day like we have 1,000 more. We don't know what the future holds, and we see this world is steadily winding down. You just expect the unexpected,
Right.
but we should be caught working. That's what I believe. No matter what happens, we should be caught working. I mean, we can't live in fear. We can't live timid.
Right.
We have to work and work earnestly and work tirelessly in the resurrection of our people. And we just have to remain focused and continue to move forward.
Yes. I'm so grateful again for you, Brother Mandene, and the work that you're doing, the leadership role that you've taken, and how you're inspiring so many young men. I'm grateful. I have 2 sons,
Yeah.
and, for them to just see another Black man out there. They have their minister, they have their father,
Yes, ma'am.
they have their uncle, they have another Black man, with you and Brother Jamil and Brother Yosef, just have an expanded community. And you're everybody's brother, you're every young man's brother, the young
Yes,
man that comes in because he needs a suit for the interview, because he
yes.
needs a suit for his graduation. You're everyone's brother. And I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. And I'm honored by giving us your time here on the Nurah Speaks podcast. But before we let you go, let us know how we can, one, support CROE, support Legacy Men's Boutique, and also how we can catch you on WVON.
Let me start with the store. If you're in Chicago, the address is 107 East 47th Street. They can. We're steadily improving our website, so they can. The website is legacymensboutique.com. So we're starting to add new things on there. So that's how you can do that. The radio show, we come on every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 9 o'clock, 9 to 12 a.m. So I know that's late, but there are a lot of people with insomnia or working the graveyard shift. So it's a market for that. Remember I told you, VON used to be 24 hours.
Right.
So it wasn't 24 hours for nothing. So it's a lot of people that's up late. I know there have been many times I was on my way home and I cut on VON, I would hear different hosts. So this is a great opportunity. And most importantly, as far as CROE is concerned, they can get in touch with CROE. And I got to give a plug to Sister Kim because she's doing the Instagram for CROE, and she's doing a phenomenal job. And I want people to and the Twitter also. So she's handling the Twitter and the Instagram, and I believe Facebook as well for the CROE Archives page. So she's doing a wonderful job. So I want people. That's one way of getting in contact with us. They can go to CROE.org. They can write us. People still write 2435 West 71st Street, Chicago, Illinois 60629. Of course, CROETV, the branch of CROE Media. We come on the Nurah Muhammad show comes on every Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. We stream live every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time and every Sunday at 2:30 Central Standard Time. So it's really difficult to get around us.
Yes.
So we're out there, and we're just trying to do our part as far as getting out as you said, to amplify the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad so that people can.
Yes, sir. Well, let me also add, as you mentioned, the Facebook page, they can follow CROETV on Facebook, and they can also go to CROE on YouTube and catch the live shows there, or on Facebook at CROETV. And Legacy Men's Boutique is on Instagram, right?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry. So okay, so it's really difficult to get around us. So we're out here. So it's
right.
social media, it's free advertising, more or less. So it's so many ways that you can get in contact with us, and you can see us. So there's really no excuse not to know. Ignorance is a choice in this day and time.
It is. That's well said. And also WVON, if you're not in Chicago, you can listen streaming on iHeartRadio as well.
iHeartRadio, and they either WVON.com, or they can go to iHeartRadio, which would probably be the best because it really comes in clear via iHeartRadio. But absolutely. Thank you so much. And that's something you learn from Brother Manil. You get all the plugs. I thought I was doing good, but it's a few things that you missed. But
I don't want the people to have an excuse.
No excuse. This is what we do. This is what we do. So, man, this is wonderful. I really enjoyed being on with you, and I look forward to it. I'm looking forward to having you back on the radio show.
Listen, anytime. I mean, Tuesday, I'm already up because we have Muhammad Speaks radio, broadcasting out of Camden, New Jersey.
Yes,
and when I'm on the show, after I'm closing out, I always tell the people, now that you're finished with Muhammad Speaks, go over to WVON and catch Brother Mandene Muhammad.
I mean, that's family right there. That's brotherhood and sisterhood.
Yes,
so I mean, and it's almost like, even with the 3 hours, the more I think about it, that's not gonna be enough time, because we got to plug each other. Look, like I said, they're gonna get us one way or the other. It's not gonna be an excuse for you not to get this. You're gonna have to, as a Quran, so you're gonna have to put your fingers in your ears and close your eyes not to get this truth.
Yes.
So this is what we do, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for the things that's to come. And again, Sister Nurah, there's not as I say, it's just the admiration of society, but you have the temperament and the understanding to do what you're doing. And I just want to encourage you, while you can still smell your flowers, to continue doing that great work that you're doing, and assisting Brother Minister as well with the radio show and at the Temple team. I'm sorry, you're doing a phenomenal job, and I want to continue to encourage you as well, sister.
I do appreciate that, Brother Mandene. So thank you again. Legacy Men's Boutique. .com. You can go there. You can follow on Instagram. And I think it's really important what you're doing there. It's not just self-service, but also community service. And
absolutely.
And we absolutely need that in this day and time. Thank you for being a wonderful guest, Brother Mandene.
Thank you, sister. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, ma'am.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nurah Speaks podcast. Be on the lookout for a new episode coming at you fresh next week. And as always, if you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, visit my website, NurahMuhammad.com. Or if you have a listener question, email me at info@NurahSpeaks.com. You can also follow the Nurah Speaks podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nurah Speaks Podcast. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes. If this show has value to you, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with family and friends. And be sure to check out previous episodes. And remember, don't just join the movement, be the movement. Stay in peace.